We are live. 12 Volt Talk Nation. What is going on? Brother High
What's
Five
up?
Vega in the house.
What's going
What's up,
on?
Rob? He's Rob's been working hard, long hours here, and like had to catch a bus and catch an airplane and a helicopter and everything to make it home
Uh,
on time to do this show. So y'all got to give him some love for tonight.
what- the main rush was I had to wolf down a burger because if I did not eat anything before this, I wouldn't have made it. I'd be
He
dead.
would have been a mean sucker. And he always kind of cranky when we're talking about head units, but he'd have been extra cranky tonight without any food. So
Yeah,
good thing he was able to eat. But I thought my story sounded a little bit better, with the bus and the airplane and the jet and the
yeah,
helicopter. But you can change it to whatever you want to make it sound not as exciting. That's fine.
yeah. I mean, I did parachute in, so
There you go. He landed in the spot.
yeah,
X marks the spot. He didn't land where the H is because that's where the helicopter lands.
yeah.
But
Land
he landed in
just
the
beside
X.
that. Yeah,
Right. And he was flying down in that what do they call it, the flying squirrel suit that they use when they do the jumping off the
yeah,
side of the cliff.
yeah. I needed big wings though, because I'm a big dude. So to hold this weight, they had to be pretty big.
Yeah. Well, you've seen bumblebees, man. They're kind of fat and they're still able to fly. What's up,
Yeah.
fellas, in the house? Third era already hitting us up with the big old gulp.
Yo,
Byron hitting us up
Chambliss.
too. Byron, you out there delivering all of our goods to us. We appreciate you, truck drivers out there that are doing all this extra hard work, keeping everybody full of food and supplies and all that stuff.
Sean
Thanks, Sean
K.
K is in the house too. We'll watch tomorrow. Want to show some love. Thank you, sir.
Yeah, you the man.
Y'all
Go
killing it
fix
early.
fix Brad's amps.
Yeah, I think I have about a dozen with him too. And since the spring OSS meet has kind of probably been put off due to the
Yeah,
the current issues that we have here going around with the COVID,
yeah. You got the
then
Rona.
yeah,
What better time to repair amps than
ain't that a truth?
Sean's King's time is now.
Well, this is the time for all you guys who don't have anything to do and say you're bored and all that. Get that Perry Babbins amp repair tutorial and go through that and buy you some cheap amps and start trying to work on them.
Yeah, I can't. I've tried.
I can't solder, so
terrible.
I need to learn that skill first.
Brandon
Brandon,
Hanna.
you the man.
Yes, my other truck driving buddy. Oops, I'm clicking.
Yeah, he's clicking too fast there. All right,
Yeah,
cool.
yeah, yeah.
Well, we took off. We're doing this every other week deal, and Rob and I both have been busy, day jobs, and then trying to get other things done, and trying to get other people on the show has not worked out because I haven't really asked.
Yeah, me neither. We've been busy, man.
Well, I've got one. Hopefully, we're going to talk to him offline first, and then maybe get him on. But yeah, we'll follow up because I'm sure there. Have you noticed, Rob, how many people are sending out these Zoom trainings? Like almost all the companies are doing that.
Yeah, and they forgot about StreamYard.
Yeah, for sure. Why are they using Zoom? I
And
mean,
you know what I like? I like that like NBC and all these big companies are having to do what we've been doing now for years. Like, hey, we already got this figured out. If y'all need some
yeah,
help, small fee, we can help you.
that's right. That's right. Well, maybe that's our career path here. We need to help people do this.
Yeah,
John Hill, thank you, sir. Ryan, thank you. You guys are hitting us up tonight like crazy.
yeah,
You guys must be bored. You must have watched all the seasons of all the good shows on Netflix. You must have, filled up your Hulu basket and watched everything there.
yeah,
You've made it through all the cool YouTube videos, and so you're like, we need some more. We need some more.
yeah. And if you came here to hear us talk about Carol Baskin, you've made a mistake.
Ain't gonna happen. Probably won't be talking about SPL much either. So if you're here for
Yeah,
that, we apologize. Well, you guys know who we are, so I'm gonna turn this little thing off because I like it. There we go. I like to get rid of
Yeah.
that so we can see some more of the I am
Yeah.
old school and see more of Rob's lights back
Adidas.
there. They starting to blink like Stranger Things. You can have
Yeah.
people talking to you through the upside down.
Yeah, the old greatest amps of all time will speak through those lights.
Yep, that's right, from the amp graveyards. Well, cool. You
You
about
up.
ready to get this party started?
Yeah, you up, man.
Let's get the party started. I will do the countdown with my purple headphones. Y'all don't be haters. These are free. They came with my Roku. They work. All right, let's start this gig up in 5, 4, 3, 2. 12 Volt Talk episode 76. Why do head units suck so bad? I don't know. That is the question. We're going to try to answer it tonight. Big D here from Wilson Audio Labs coming at you. Here, as always, with my good friend and co-host, Mr. Rob Vega from High Five Vega. What's going on, Rob?
Yo, 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 what's up, man? I'm energized. I've eaten a burger. I've We've had a ton of super chats. I'm pumped tonight, man. I've been stimulated.
Yeah, man, that's
Yeah.
crazy. I guess these guys wanna see us talk tonight or something. They're just killing it with the super chats and super stickers and all that cool stuff that YouTube offers up. We appreciate you guys supporting us. We always appreciate you being here to listen to us and watch us, and if you can throw us a couple bucks every now and then, that's appreciated too, because it just goes right back into the show. We use it to buy stuff we need, like microphones and maybe some better earphones. But these work fine for now. So tonight, Rob, we're going to talk about one of the topics that it's kind of a sour space for us, because
Uh,
we have some real wants and real needs for head units, and I think we know why there's not any really nice ones out there, or very few really nice ones. I shouldn't say there are not any, because
yeah.
I don't, there's some that we haven't played with that may be really nice. But what do we got to say about the current market of head units?
First, let me spread the blanket out. Let me tell you a tale of how this come about. How did we start talking about this? You guys know that sometimes I have hot takes, and it turns out I have hot takes when I'm not on the internet as well, or when I'm on the internet with my friends. And you guys know who JDR is. He's basically the ghost third chair that's always on here. We tried to get him on tonight, but he wouldn't commit. And he bought a new head unit. It's a really nice head unit. And I just started looking at the prices of these head units. And then I just basically like, hey, I hate head units. They suck. Like, why are we paying $800, $900, $1,500 for a head unit that has technology? It's essentially 20 years old right now. That's how we started.
And I think I'm showing the head unit that he talked about purchasing or having, the 995 Kenwood DNX 995S. Isn't that the one he said he had?
Yeah, I think so. Is one of the nicer ones. He ended up getting on a deal on.
Yeah, so this one here, they've replaced it with a newer model, but you get the idea. I mean, here's the 996. I'll just click on it so we can see. It's got 4.5, almost 5 stars, but it's missing one thing that Rob and I just can't get over. I know why
Yeah.
they do it, because they're trying to fill the screen up, but what was it missing, Rob?
Yeah, man. What's that volume knob? We ain't messing with the push buttons. Come on with that.
It would be funny if the car amp manufacturer started giving you push buttons for your bass remote.
I'd throw that
Said,
junk
forget
straight out the window.
forget turning knobs. We're gonna have you push buttons to turn up and down your bass.
Instantly canceled, man. They're
Yeah,
done. You do that, like, no.
but I mean, $1,100 for this dual
Yeah.
den And I mean, it's got a HD display.
Well, do
Well,
we consider 720 HD anymore?
720 is considered HD. 1080 is considered full HD.
Yeah.
You have to watch those little sayings because old school YouTubers will remember when we first were able to upload an HD. It was 720p, and that was like what? It wasn't long after that they moved to 1080p. But yeah, so
Yeah.
720 is high def. But here's what you guys need to remember: your smartphone that you use, most smartphones have at least a 1080p screen. Some of them are like 1440p. So this is going to be a little smaller than that head unit as far as size goes, as far as display size goes. And the head units still don't have the resolution that the cell phones have. Of course, we're talking $1,100 for a head unit being expensive, and you know how much cell phones are. So
Yeah.
that's not a very good comparison because they are very expensive. But
It's actually a very good comparison when that phone can be your source for one thing. It can do all your camera needs of a camera. To get a camera of that quality, you're going to spend $700 new minimum.
that's
And
true.
and if
Yeah.
you don't know how to use that camera, you're not even going to get the same quality. You'll get better quality out of the phone. And then that's your computer, everyone's computer. I mean, prices of phones are high, but when you really sit and think about what they do, it's it's not bad when you compare it to $1,100 for a CD player with
Yeah.
a
Or
screen.
DVD. But
Yeah.
still, even so, the we talked about the 720p screen that's in this particular head unit. It's 6.75 inches, which I think this iPhone is 6.5 inches, so it's close. Um, it plays MP3, WMA, AAC, plus high res, wave, and FLAC files. Of course, Bluetooth, HD radio tuner, AM/FM tuner, Android Auto, and CarPlay, wired or wireless. Now that's pretty cool. But here's my thing, and I know that we might be jumping ahead a little bit, Rob, but I'm gonna do it anyway because we're talking about it right now. The CarPlay to me, I don't know why anybody would want wireless CarPlay because you're gonna charge your phone. Because if anybody here drives and uses Waze, which if you drive and you don't use Waze as your GPS, then you're missing out on a lot. So it really eats up your battery. So you're going to have to be plugged in anyway to charge it. So why would you not? Why would you want wireless CarPlay? What do you think, Rob?
I definitely want wireless. I could see for road trips or if you're driving back and forth to work, but there's a lot of times when you just want to jump in, have it connected, not get your cable. Like my drive to work's only 10 minutes. So for me, I definitely wouldn't hook up to that. That's why it's important to me for the wireless. I want everything to be a wireless with the option of plugging it in.
Well, you could have the wireless CarPlay and then have you one of those little hotspot docks where you just lay your phone down and it charges it wirelessly. That's
Yeah,
okay. But
yeah,
see, I'm one of these hyper sensitive charging kind of people. Like if my phone gets below 50%, I freak out. So I have to keep my phone plugged in all the time. And usually at the end of the day, I'm like at 85% because I've been charging it off and on throughout the day. What you will notice if you do this, and again, this is kind of off topic, but I'm going to tell you anyway. If you, it's better for your battery for it not to go all the way down to fully discharged. And the way I can tell is when I compare the battery life percentage of my phone versus like my daughter, she lets hers run out every day. Hers goes down to almost zero, 3 or 4%. But within the same time period, my battery percentage health will say like 96%. Hers says like 88%. So I know that there's some logic there with the lithium ion and how everything works, but in my experience, keep it charged more and it'll last longer. But
yeah. The new batteries are actually the total opposite of the old NiCad batteries, where you used to want to run them all the way down.
that's right. Yeah, I remember that. Man, that was Yeah, such a pain.
Yeah, we're old, man. We're old.
We are. That's what happens. And we're sitting here complaining about double din head But I mean, as far as features go, this Kenwood that we were talking about, the 996 XR, I mean, it's pretty far up the chain there as far as the head units go with the controls and everything that it does. It offers, of course, this one doesn't have four RCA pre-outs for your three four-way systems is what I mean. I don't mean four physical outputs. I mean four sets. But there's very few head units that do that anyway.
But does it have the navigation?
Yeah, it does.
All right, let's talk about that. If you guys hadn't noticed, we're talking about the not so good stuff, the stuff we don't like about this, and the navigation on these head units. You guys know how I feel about them. It's absolutely terrible. It is terrible compared. Back in the day, it was probably good. You know, for when we didn't have these. Once we got these, those became useless.
Yeah, if you've ever played around, even the higher end units like this one and some of the other ones with the navigation versus using Waze or Google Maps or Apple Maps or whatever you like to use. Yeah, the one on the phones are so much better, and that's why if you use the Apple CarPlay or the Android Auto and let it put your navigation on there, you don't need navigation built into the head unit. I mean, it adds extra electronics the head units have to have. It requires you to put an external antenna up. A lot of things that we just really don't need because all that stuff's built into our phones. So that what I've seen before is I've seen head units jump from like $600 to $1,000 just to have navigation built in. I'm like, really?
Yeah, like
$400 for that?
Yeah.
And then on top of that, if you get a head unit like this and it's got the navigation built in, what else is the problem, Rob?
The internet?
The updates, right?
Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, you have to put in a DVD that's got all the maps and it downloads it, and then such a pain. Whereas when you're using your phone, you're live connected to the network, and then what I've noticed is here in North Carolina, when we go to the mountains, there's good parts in the mountains where we get zero cell service, but your GPS will still work as long as you have a line of sight. If you go into a tunnel or something, obviously it's not going to work. But the only thing Waze will do when you run out of cell service is it'll tell you that it can't update you with the traffic stuff. Like it can't tell you when there's stuff in the road, when there's cops, when there's other things that use the data network, but the GPS part will still work. It still knows where the road is, it knows how fast you're going, all that stuff. So you don't have to worry about that, even when you use a cheaper head unit with a cell phone.
Yeah, I mean, and you've kind of already talked about. We've talked about the screens being bad. I haven't seen one with a good screen. Although, let's see what the Alpine Halo looks like. So I'll reserve judgment on that. But the navigation we don't like, and a lot of it's because the user interface. The user interface of these are atrocious. They're very, very bad. They're jittery. The update situation is terrible. ADPRS is an example of that, and it's not a good look.
Yeah, I was just pulling up that Alpine. It looks like mainly the ones that Crutchfield sells are vehicle specific versions, but this is one that's more the universal one. But we haven't had a chance to play with one of these yet. I have watched some of the videos online, and big shout out to Mark. Thank you for the super chat. We appreciate the support there, Mark. Thank you so much. But here with the Alpine, I've seen some of their videos after CES or at CES, and they showed the interface, and it did look pretty slick. Like it was very, very reactive to the touch and very fluid, more like a tablet is than most head units are. But we haven't had a chance to play with it. It's kind of cool that it's a single din and it kind of floats. I don't know what you think of. What do you think about that, Rob? That's kind of something I've never really played around with in a car. I wonder if it looks right,
Well,
sticking out like that.
the problem with if you got a fairly new car, you're climate control is probably gonna be covered up by that, and that's why it's probably vehicle specific for now. It's like it's like these manufacturers have never watched a Soundman video. People want iPads. They do not want your screens. They don't want your garbage screens. Some people might, but they just I don't know, man. It's infuriating.
Yeah, well, it's this whole problem of, why are we going to invest so much money in making a nice head unit when you just said it a minute ago? So many of the newer cars have got everything integrated into the head unit, so you can't really change them. So the aftermarket head unit market is dwindling. So along with that goes the high end stuff, or the more fancy units that have more features that a lot of us want, that are really into car audio. But as you said before, now the screens on a lot of these, even the nice ones, are junk. I mean, they're like,
Yeah.
I've got a Amazon Fire tablet. I think it's the first one they came out with, I don't know, 8 or 9 years ago. And it still works, but when you go through and like you swipe, it's really slow, it's sluggish. You tap one of the apps and it takes it, you know, 2 minutes for it to load. It's almost like, their user interface is taken from an Android that's years old, and that's the thing that's so frustrating. And I think even just the auto manufacturers now are just getting to the point where the ones that they have built into the cars, and even the fancy ones that you buy, are just now getting to the point where they're not as good as an iPad still, or a nice Android tablet, but they're much more fluid than they used to be.
Yeah, and it's I'm a single DIN guy anyway, so a screen to me is not necessarily what I'm looking for. But in these this is the kind of head unit that you're gonna see on like if it was still around like Pimp My Ride. This is what they're gonna put in there because this is the flashy one. This is the Fast and Furious edition of head units, in my opinion. Now I haven't played with it, so I can't say for sure, but I would just rather have a nice single DIN unit. But I will say the Kenwood versus this, I believe that the first of all, the Kenwood plays the DSD files, which is the highest quality files that I know of, and it's got better pre-outs and op amps and, and all that stuff. I believe that was the main purchasing uh, part for JDR that he wanted. You mute you. Oh, you're still muted, bro.
Can you hear me now?
He's
There
back.
we go.
He's back.
He's having a hard time with this mute button. Um, yeah, this one does play some high res files, but I'm not sure of the DAC and everything that's built into it. But I don't know. We'll let some of the audience out there that's watching, and I know some of you guys are installers. Some of you probably are, deal with you own shops and you deal with products like this. So let us know what you think about the Kenwood versus the um, Alpine, and some of the other ones, the Halo, some of the other ones that they offer. What do you guys think? Since you're the ones that use these a lot more than we do. Judd, thank you for the super chat. We appreciate that. But yeah, so aftermarket head units are going away mainly because the newer cars have everything integrated. So those of us who want to do aftermarket stuff, and if you have an older car like me, like I got the new F-150, but all of my other cars are at least 10 years old. I only buy cars like once every 10 years. So those other cars have got a spot for a double DIN or a single DIN or a nice head unit. But Rob and I both use the 80PRS from Pioneer. And like you said, they haven't updated the firmware since what, 2006 or 8? I don't even know.
Yeah,
It's been
that's
forever.
the ADPRS it's got a whole nother batch of issues that I have with it, but it's not the typical head unit or the issues we're talking about now. Besides the user interface,
Yeah, it's not, the user interface is not that great. In fact, I can't even remember how long it took me to figure out how to put in the stations to have them save, because you
Yeah.
can't really search it very easily, and you flip the little flipper on the side and it jumps, and I was like, what is going on here? But I finally figured it out. But it's not super intuitive.
Well, and if people's never updated ADPRS, you got to hook that Bluetooth to a laptop. It can't be wired Bluetooth to a laptop, and then you do the update through there. And
Yeah,
it's a pain to do the
it
update
is
through
a
that.
pain. I remember the first time I did it, and it was a pain. There was trying to remember what feature it added. Oh, I think it added the text or something from, was it Spotify, where it adds the text on the screen? I can't remember. There was something
It
the update did.
the biggest reason I wasn't even going to update it, but it let me skip Spotify tracks
Ah,
on the
that's
head
it.
unit
Yeah,
itself.
that's it. Yep,
Yeah,
yep. That was the difference. It did. I don't think it puts the text up there,
yeah.
but it does allow you to skip. That is a biggie, because yeah, I'm usually using the head unit to skip things like that. So
So what new head unit today would you buy if I put you on a spot and was like, Derek, you have to get a new head unit, uh, a new head unit. What would you buy? What would you spend all your YouTube
dude,
millions
I
on?
have been looking for a while for something, and that's why I'm still with the ADPRS. I did buy one of the Pioneer. What is it? 440 something. It wasn't one of their higher end models, and it doesn't have the built-in navigation. But it's a double DIN. It's got push button volumes. I bought it a while back to put it in my Accord, but I've just never switched out the ADPRS yet. I wouldn't mind trying one of these Halos, but again, it doesn't have a volume knob.
Yeah, and if I had to buy one, there's so much stipulations. I like the GS9. I don't like the app's terrible. We didn't even talk about the apps. That's just in with software. They're not good at it. But if that thing was like $300 or $400, I'd definitely buy the GS9 because I like the look of it. I like the huge volume knob. But outside of that, I think Pioneer makes a double DIN with a volume knob that's basically like a newer ADPRS and is more integrated with Spotify. I'd probably end up with something like that.
Yeah, I just pulled up the Sony, the RSX GS9 that you talked about a little bit, and yeah, big old volume knob right in the
That's
middle. And
dope.
this one's actually like a minimalist dream, because it's got so few buttons on it. It's literally got like a select, a play, a forward, reverse, and it's got a USB jack on the front, and really not a whole lot else going on with it. But yeah, this is supposed to be their super high end model. But yeah, $1,500. I mean, what is the $1,500 here? It seems
Yeah.
like it's way overpriced. And but we've seen that before too with the Pioneer. What was the other one? The P99.
Yeah.
Remember that one from the Stage 4 setup? That one was a really slick unit with the four-way outputs.
hmm
And
But it was also $1,100.
yeah, yeah,
Yeah.
at least it might have been 12. I think it was 12.95, so it was 1,300.
Yeah.
And Matt says the volume knob is not really a big argument. Almost every car has steering wheel controls.
You're still
And then
pushing a
what
button with
does your
steering wheel
steering wheel
control.
control do?
Yeah.
Mine doesn't
You're
have a
still
knob on it. I still have to push freaking buttons.
Yeah. It's like, dude, like I don't even like steering wheel controls that much. Now there is a steering wheel control I liked, and it come with the C90 and the 7850, the Sony CDX C90, 7850, 8850. It's a little look like a turn signal, but it was short, and you just stick it right to the side of your steering wheel and you could adjust it from there. I like that one.
Yeah, I remember that. Good old days. That was like before the BMW iDrive thing, where you could.
Yeah.
And they had
Yeah.
an aftermarket version of that too. I think I've got one somewhere, but it's like JBL or somebody had an iPod dock several years ago. It's one of those things that when it was on clearance, I bought years ago. Never have used it, but I'm sure it'll be a relic here before long, and I'll be able to make a video about it. if I still have an iPod to work with it.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's the same type thing. It's got that little remote that's got the wheel on the top, and you can move it back and forth like a joystick type deal.
Yeah, I like those. Those are cool.
Yeah, that's pretty slick. So yeah, my response to that would be I don't know. So what head unit would you buy?
I would buy like the either probably the Pioneer with the turn knob. That'd be the one that I'd want to check out.
You know you don't want the turn knob. You want the one that has the little dock so you can put your phone on it. I'm gonna look this one up that Byron just talked about. Have you seen that one?
I think I did. I think
Is
somebody
Dean's talked
somebody
about that one?
no. It was Jeff Smith. He posted something about it. I think a while back.
Ah, okay. I'm looking at it right here. I'll pull it up so everybody can see it. Hopefully they got a good picture of it. Yep. Let me share my screen again. Take your in-vehicle infotainment to new heights. 10-inch capacitive touchscreen, 16.7 million colors. Has Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, Sirius XM, HDMI, Bluetooth. All the features you crave. All the features, Rob, that you crave.
Yeah, maybe. Hey, I'm if someone brings out the perfect head unit and it's a decent price, I'll eat my words.
Oh, has that got a volume knob in the middle? Is that what that is, Byron? Do you see that?
What is
Is that
that?
a volume knob right there?
No.
I think it is. It's hard to see it, but let's see if there's a closer up of it. That's why is it weird? Like it doesn't show any knob there, but when you go here, there's a knob.
Yeah, I don't know.
I don't
It says
understand.
modular designs.
Yeah, we'll have to check that out. I'll have to get one of those in and try it out. Stinger, if you're listening, hook us up so we can try one, so we can talk about it.
Yeah, send a bunch of wire with it too. So what do we like? What do we like about these new head units? What's your favorite feature that you get in a new head unit that wasn't on an old head unit?
It's obviously got to be Bluetooth. People can complain day in and day out about the sound quality of Bluetooth. Um, I've done A/B comparisons, and to my ears, I can't really tell the difference. So, I'm Rob's famous statement is the convenience trumps fidelity. Right? Is that what you say?
Yeah. Well, I borrowed that. Now I do have to admit I borrowed that. I don't know if you guys watch like Daily Tech News Show or what's it called? The Modern Rogue. Brian Brushwood's on there. Anyways, that's one of his big things.
Okay. Yeah. So I'd have to say Bluetooth for me is just. I mean, I've got and in my cord I never hooked up the microphone, so I can't talk in it, but I can stream to it. And my wife was driving my car the other day and she joined one of her conference calls and she's like, "Nobody can hear me when I'm in your car." I said, it's because I don't have the microphone hooked up. Sorry. But yeah, Bluetooth for me is absolute necessity from a head unit. What about
Yeah,
you?
I totally agree with that. And this is one I have limited experience with, but the experience that I have had with it has been good. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, those work. The software works for that. It's much, much better than anything I've used from a manufacturer.
Yeah, it used to be when you would plug in your iPhone to any type of head unit that could actually try to read it, it would like turn your phone off and all the features would be on the head unit, and that was not a very good way of controlling. But like Rob said, with the Apple CarPlay that I've used, it's very good. I mean, it's not perfect, but it's so much better than things used to be when you plugged in your phone. And I had some experience when we went to Disney last month. On the way down there and on the way back, we did have some issues with the CarPlay locking up. Now, this could be the Ford Sync software. It could be whatever integration Waze has with CarPlay. I don't know. but it only happened when it will pop up and tell you, there's a vehicle stopped on the side of the road, and you have to close it. And we would go to close it, and like nothing you did on the screen would get rid of it. So we'd have to unplug the phone, plug it back in. We had to do that probably 4 or 5 times on the way down there, and 4 or 5 on the way back. That
Yeah,
was a
it's
little
enough
bit
to
of,
make you just want to throw it out the window.
yeah, it was pretty bad.
It doesn't take much for that to happen. It's like 0 to 60 and nothing.
Yeah. So Craft Chest hooked us up with $10. I'm shopping around for a head unit. I bought this and I am impressed with the cost. Supposedly the number one SQL SPL in my state uses head unit, a JVC KDX X. I can't even talk tonight. KDX 360 BTS. One den.
What a easily rememberable name.
Yeah, thank you, car audio manufacturers, for your name brands. I mean, for your model names that don't make no sense. I mean, it
Yeah,
makes sense to somebody, but it don't make sense to us.
yeah.
I
I've
mean,
heard of that unit too, and it's kind of like a cheaper version of an 80 PRS.
oh,
I
okay.
haven't played with it, but I've heard it's very good.
Well, that is good. That works for you well. We appreciate your supporting the show here and giving us your ideas of what you like. So, other than that, Rob, other than the Bluetooth and the Android Auto and CarPlay, if you can, if it's a double DIN, most likely it should have that. If it's a single DIN, it's not going to work with that because you don't have no screen real estate. But what else do you like about the new head units, or what would you need if you bought one? Something that you have to have.
Well, this is something on new and old, but having nice like digital to analog converters, like the Kenwood we talked about earlier, you're always looking for that. The Burr Brown or whatever it may be now. I don't know what they use now, but nice decks because we're converting digital to analog. That's basically all we're doing. Oh, and I would like an optical out too. I like optical out as an option.
Yeah, optical out would be good. Something that we never see anymore with head units is the balanced outputs.
Oh yeah.
Remember balanced outputs we used to have, and gosh, I really wish mini XLRs would become a thing. I don't think we really have to deal with the noise problems as much now that we used to, but just having a way to use mini XLRs would completely eliminate any noise. So that would be cool, but we just kind of fell back to RCA's is what almost everybody uses now. If it's not an optical, like you said, that goes into a DSP or something.
Yep. And the XLR give you what's that, like 16 volt 9, 16, 12 volts, something like that.
Yeah, I don't know what the limit is with XLRs, but I know they can push a lot of voltage. But yeah. So very few, they did that back in the 90s up into the early 2000s, I guess. Some of the head units did had that. I know that the Rockford Fosgate Denford, whatever you call it, that I have has got the balanced output on it, and there were some other ones as well at the time. I think the Clarion had it as well, and several other ones.
Yeah. So you got a favorite head unit of all time?
That's tough, man. Because some of the ones that I really like, I've not played with, like that Clarion. I've sat in Ray's Escape when he had the Clarion 9255 a few years ago, and I think he's moved to the Kenwoods, I think now. But that one looked really nice. It had a volume knob, and it just felt really, really um, fancy. I mean, it felt nice. It felt like, hey, this is quality right here. Of course, the Alpine 7909. That's one that I never owned, but I had the 7903, and I used that thing in a car for over 10 years, like 3 different cars, and that head unit was just rock solid. Of course, the 7909, the older ones had low voltage output, so you didn't have the 4 volt. They were 1.2 or whatever. So that will be a problem nowadays. But if you're talking time specific, then I would have to probably go with the 7909 as my favorite one of all time. What about
Yeah.
you?
I'm sure that's a very popular pick. The 7909 was actually kind of before my time, and I was around for the anniversary edition. But I will say that like my favorite unit is not even a high end unit. It's because what I could afford during the day. I couldn't get the C90. The C90 was just out of my range. It was like $800 or something like that. So I ended up getting the Sony CDX 7850, and I absolutely love that head unit. It come with the remote that I talked about. The screen was terrible. The screens on those are very, very bad. But you got a little dinosaur, and you've got 4-volt outs, and it just sounded really good.
Yeah, that the Sony C90. I think I've told the story before, but Sony lost me as a head unit customer back in 1990 when I bought my first head unit, the 7520 CDX 7520, because I saved up. I mean, I mowed grass and did I did all kind of things helping people out, making extra money, so I could buy my first car stereo system. And I never wanted tapes because I never had tapes or never had a lot of tapes. As soon as CDs came out, I started buying them. They were like $18 at the record store for a CD, but I would literally not eat lunch every day and save the $2 or whatever my dad gave me for lunch, and I would use it to buy CDs and save money for stereo equipment. Anyway, so the Sony one, the very first one I purchased, the 7520, was junk. I hated it. First off, it had push buttons for volume. It lasted 366 days until the push buttons broke for the volume. Literally the day or the week after, the warranty expired. So then I switched to Alpine. I'm like, I'm not dealing with any more Sony junk. So I wrote Sony off, and people were talking about, oh, Sony's got this high-end head unit. I was like, yeah, right. I'm an Alpine guy because this Alpine right here has lasted me forever. So it's all experience. Everybody has that, right? I bought a Ford one time and it was junk. I'm never buying another one. I bought a Honda one time, best car I've ever had. Everybody's got their own experience with things. But anyway, that's why I didn't really even look at the C90 and some of the other high-end Sonys. Even the XES and all that stuff that came out, I'm like, yeah, right. Sony high-end for car? I don't believe it.
They were prone to skipping too. That was another issue. So I always backstrapped every single one of them I had. But
yeah, you probably need to put some fluid shocks in there or something to keep that joke.
I had that 60-second skip protection.
Yeah, the ESP.
This Panasonic, the CQ TX 5500W, is that the tube head?
I'll look it up real quick and we'll see. I don't know the model. I just know it's called the bottle head, right?
Yeah. But I remember, so obviously, like, there was a few head units that if someone come up to me, is like, I'll give you this head unit if you punch your best friend in the face. That one of those was the Denon, and another one was the Nakamichi, the 45Z. Dude, that thing was so dope.
Yeah, I agree with both of those. Now, and I do have a short story. I try not to make it too long about the Denon as well. So Denon had a few different models with the CD, and they had some with the tape. But I think the 950R was the top of the line Denon, and maybe the mid 90s. So there was a 950R and there was an 850R. Well, the 850R was on sale at Sound City or one of these places, going out of, hey, it's end of the model year, going down in price. And I think it was like $319 or something. And it was regularly $499 or $599. It was a pretty big decrease in the price. So I purchased the Denon DCT 850 or 850R, and it lasted like 2 years, and then it died. And then that's when I talked about the Alpine. I put the Alpine back in after having the newer Denon, and I was like, man, I miss my Alpine. So I like the Alpine better. So it could have been that the 850 was, it obviously wasn't the highest end Denon, So it wasn't the one that probably was built a little bit better, but my experience was it wasn't an Alpine. It
Well,
was
you know,
just
sometimes
something
the
else.
fancy things are very unreliable, like Ferraris and
Kind
Lamborghinis.
of. But yeah, man, I don't know. I hope Alpine is still the same as that they were back in the day. But literally, when I was in car audio, some people were Pioneer people, some people were Sony people. But honestly, from my experience and all my friends from back then, you wanted an Alpine because they were literally rock solid. They did not skip. It was funny. We used to try to run over the railroad tracks fast to make the Alpine skip. And it was rare to no time that it would skip. And the
I
Sony, you just
that the
sneeze in the car and the
Oh
Sony would
yeah,
skip.
that I will say, like I've had some Alpines, and man, if you're basing pretty hard, the Alpines you skip. I don't know if it was different than driving or just think of it, but I had to backstrap that too. But it was a newer one. It wasn't a 7903 or any of those. It was a newer Alpine.
Yeah. Well, you guys have probably seen too, but my test bench, I keep wanting to switch out the Alpine that I have on my test bench I use for all my amp dyno runs. I'm still using that 9815,
Yeah.
and that's from, I can't even remember what year that came out. 2000, was it 2002? I don't remember. Anyway, it's still rock solid. And the one thing, Rob, that I was going to switch it out to the 80 PRS, but I'm not sure that the 80 PRS can do full range. Because don't you have to? Doesn't it either you switch it between the network mode or the other mode, and it still
Sure.
switches? Doesn't still have the crossover built in, right? You can't like completely defeat the crossover.
Well, yeah, you could just put there's like a bypass mode if you do it on standard. The S,
Okay, so
yeah,
that's good. So then I can switch it out. That's why I was holding out because I was like, I don't know if I can run it. And a lot of the older amps I want to test them at 1 kilohertz and 40 hertz, and I don't want to have to be switching RCA's.
yeah.
But the one thing that has happened with that Alpine is the remote. Every time I used to do my test, I'd use the remote to pause and play the track. So when you do the amp dyno test, you start it, by unpausing it, and then you pause it when the track is or when the test is done. So it stopped working. And so I've got multiples of those same remotes and none of them work. But they'll work for skipping tracks, but they won't work for the play pause, which is very odd on any of the remotes. So it's something.
You got the universal con? I've got a universal one here, the black one.
No, they're all the RUX 420, whatever the model number
Are
is
they
for
the
the remote.
silver ones?
No, they're black.
They're the black ones? Oh.
Yeah.
The one I have is it's a RF one, like you would use on a boat.
Oh,
Yeah,
but it's
that one
almost
works
like
pretty good.
whatever command the remote is sending for the play pause, the head unit just, I don't want to see it.
Yeah,
Because it'll do volume up and down. It'll do track skip. It'll do that with all the remotes, but it just won't do play pause. Anyway, I'm going to switch that out now to the Pioneer now that you've reminded me that
yeah,
I can go full range with that because the Pioneer, being able to put things on the SD card and being able to play the tracks back that way and having the Bluetooth built in. Whereas the one thing that I never showed about the Alpine is they made an AI net to Bluetooth adapter, which worked with Alpine. I think JVC had a similar plug on the back of their head units that you can use this little adapter. But it was like $12 on eBay. And I bought it 3 years ago and it just died recently. I was trying to connect to it and I couldn't connect and it wouldn't even show the name because it's called Sky International is what it shows up as. But once that crapped out, I'm like, okay, now I definitely have to change the head unit out. But Alpine is still solid, except for the remote not working for play pause. But you guys
yeah.
know I've had my amp dyno since 2012. So this is the 8th year that I've been using that Alpine
And it was probably already
9815.
15 years old by the time you started using it.
Exactly. And who knows how heavy. And I can already tell the buttons, you know how you push the forward and back for the tracks?
Yeah,
They're already wearing out and they weren't that way when I got it. So I've definitely used it. I've used it a lot. So I have no complaints at all. They're,
the only problem you ever have with Alpines is the CD transport. If you use it really heavily for CDs, but outside that, they always work.
yeah. So That's kudos to Alpine because that head unit has been rock solid for me. I have no complaints. I bought that used for like $100 from one of the guys from the forum,
Yeah.
and yeah, it's
I
been
wonder
really.
how the quality is on their new ones.
I don't know. It'd be nice to find out,
Yeah.
Alpine, if you listen. I was gonna bring up that model, and it definitely is the bottle head, the one that
Yeah.
the guy
Yeah.
was talking about. CQT TX 5500W. And I know brother Steve McIntyre has got a black version of that. At least one of them. He might have multiples because he was telling us about it before.
Yeah.
But most of them that you see are silver. And I was trying to find a big picture of it, but I keep clicking and it keeps showing me little small pictures.
I think his was modded too. They do mods to those, and they're a sweet unit. JDR had one, and I
Yeah,
think
that's
he's already
cool. And
passed
you
it
can
on.
tell those are Japanese market design because the volume is on the right side, right? And they sit on the right and they use their left hand to do the volume.
Yeah.
But yeah, that here I'm gonna, even though you can't really see it that great, I'm still gonna share it because you guys can see over here.
Yeah.
Um, our favorite VU meters, of course. And we didn't even talk
Yeah.
about that in our wants and desires and needs,
That's pretty
which
dope. That
we should have because I can tell you, when you have VU meters going when you're thumping, it just makes you happy.
yeah.
I don't care if they're digital or analog. Analog ones look better, but if
Well,
at
I mean,
least
Denon and Macintosh both made just a single DIN unit that was nothing but a few U meters, and it was like $500.
that's right.
Uh,
And it's sold like hotcakes because you can't find them anymore. And they're still
yeah.
$500 if you do find one.
Hey, if you're gonna have a double DIN, do it like this. Like, forget that screen. Who gives a crap about that screen? Do something like this.
Yeah, isn't this ironic? Alanis Morissette said one day. But this Panasonic with the tube supports MP3s.
Yeah, there you go.
So all they can do is just come out with another one of these and slap some Bluetooth on it. Have your little
Yeah,
tube in there glowing. I don't know, have some pop out, fold out screen so Rob can sit his phone on it and get his Apple CarPlay.
yeah, right.
Ain't gonna happen. So I think our in conclusion here to our head unit summary is we don't really see a whole lot of future in head units. I really like that Alpine and Stinger and some of the other people are coming out with things that they try to get it so it is more integrated look into the car, into the newer vehicles. But I just think that we're kind of going down that slippery slope now of not being able to change our head units out anymore at all. And once you get 3 or 4 years of that, which we're getting pretty close to that, then yeah, it's going to be tough to find them. You'll be able to find the ones at Walmart or the cheap $10 Blaupunk ones, but I don't know if they're going to keep making them.
All head units are gonna be old school head units.
That's
Soon
right.
enough.
So you better pick you up a Alpine 9815 or
Just
9813 if
stock
you want
up on
something
those
that's going to
$10
last.
ball punks. Oh
Well, the
Lord.
screen on the Blaupunk goes out, so
Yeah.
you just have to kind of guess
You don't need the
what's going
screen.
on.
Who cares?
Well, we didn't really talk about it here, Rob, but have you noticed that some of the new amplifiers have Bluetooth built into them?
Oh yeah. Yeah, quite a few of them do.
So then it makes you wonder, well, in that case, you really could leave your fancy factory head unit in and you could just connect in through Bluetooth to your aftermarket stuff.
Yeah.
I don't know. That seems kind of a weird way to control
yeah.
your audio. But I will say this, though. The Infinity Kappa 5 channel that I got a few months ago that will be forthcoming for a test here in the next couple months, but it actually has a separate control module that runs from the amp up to your front of your car. So it works. It has a volume knob. It has a source select. It has all that. You can have multiple Bluetooth devices connected to it. And I think you can have multiple inputs to it. So it would allow you to still have your volume knob, and you just hook your phone up through Bluetooth or whatever device through Bluetooth, and you can control that and other things. Now, AM/FM radio, maybe you're giving that up though.
Yeah. Well, I mean, a lot of marine units have something like that with a controller. That's kind of a big thing for them, so they don't have to put a head unit in there. But yeah, I think those are pretty cool too.
Yeah, I was interested when I saw that Infinity and didn't really know how it worked, and it just looked really cool. So I'm excited to see. I wish it was a little bit more powerful in the sub channel. I think it's 250 at 4 ohms and 350 at 2 ohms or something is what
Yeah,
the sub channel is rated at. So it's not, in my opinion, the sub channels need to be at least 4 to 500 watts on those 5 channels for them to be worth it. But could be it's underrated. I don't know. We'll see. But as far as
mm,
everything else goes, it's pretty cool. And I'm not sure that the model that replaced that actually has all those features built in. But we'll
no, I
have to,
don't think it does.
I don't think it does either. So
Yeah,
that was kind of like maybe it was a trial to see how it worked or whatever. But they still have those. The Kappa, it's the K5 model, and they still have some. I saw on eBay the other day for like 179. I thought that was a good price. I paid a little bit more for the one that I got, but that was one I was thinking about for the hot rod, just to put in a quick system to try it out. Was to put that in there, and then you don't have to worry about a head unit and trying to hide it and all that stuff. So
that one
yeah,
has Bluetooth too. Yeah, it does. Yeah, it
mm-hmm.
does. Yep, that would be cool
Yeah,
for
it'd be
just starting.
worth trying it out just to see if you have an older vehicle and you don't want to you know do any other mods, it'd be something
Yeah.
worth trying.
But before we get in our after chat, what videos have you put out recently? What's going on in Wilson Audio Labs?
So what I've decided to do lately is, get some input because I always have ideas of what I want to do. And I've been posting on my community tab of YouTube and also on the Patreon asking people, hey, what do you guys want to see? So here recently it was the 25 to Life Rockford Fosgate Scar Audio 5 channel Pioneer mini amp, which literally fits in the palm of your hand. And the Rockford won the test, won the poll, so we got that one going first, and the Scar and the Pioneer are coming up. And then yesterday I placed another poll. I've got some other amps too. The Audio Pipe Full Bridge 3K, which it looks a lot like a Tar amps, but it's made in China. So I'm really curious to see, did China just copy the Tar amps or what's going on with that? So
They
we'll
even
find
might have
out.
copied the clip indicator because it
Yeah,
even looks exactly the
I
same.
mean the both sides look the same too, right? Because when you see all the different knobs and the potentiometers and the inputs and outputs, it looks just like a HD 3000. So we'll find out about that one. And then the other one that people kept asking me about is that Gravity Audio W8000.
Yeah.
It's like a 3K, but it says 8,000 watts all over it. So I got one of those coming too, and the voting on that's pretty close. The people want to see either the Kappa K5 that I just talked about. They want to see that, or the Gravity. Those two are, I think, pretty much neck and neck. So if you want to vote, you just go out to the wilsonaudio.com and it'll take you to my YouTube channel, and you can click on the community tab at the top, and then you can vote, see which one you want to see, because it'll be within the next upcoming couple weeks. I'll be showing that. So what you got going on?
Well, first I want to comment that I am glad that you're testing these gravity whatever amps because I honestly could not care less about that amp. I don't even. I'll of course I'm gonna watch the video because my dude Big D's doing it. But as far as like that, I don't care. I don't care if it does 10,000 watts. I just don't care about it. Uh, I know a lot of people do though. I like weird stuff, and I was gonna I was gonna riot in the streets. I was gonna get the pitchforks if the Scar Mini 5 channel beat out the 25 to Life on that poll. It was gonna be over, man. That was no bueno. But I've had a bunch of amp dynos here recently because I'm trying to catch up, and I just put out the little Rockford. We had the Pioneer before then, and the I can't even remember what I had before then. But coming up Monday, I'm working on it. It's the project. It's called the Hi-Fi Hyundai. So that's coming up. Next 3, 4, 5 videos will probably be all about that. First one's coming out Monday. I'm almost done with it. So yeah, it's gonna be exciting. Should be good. I like doing the amp dynos of the weird fun stuff. That's really not my thing. I'm kind of the how-to guy. I like to do the builds, and so that's coming up.
Yeah, that's exciting stuff. I know you put a lot of effort to get ahead with your videos so you could work on the uh, the install video, and that's going to be exciting. Can't wait to see that. DIY audio guy hitting us up for $5. Thank you, sir. We appreciate that feedback. And so, what else have you seen? Now, I tell you one thing that was very interesting, and I wanted to get one in before, but I never did. The audio control little small amps that Steve Mead tested. Did you see that
Oh
video?
yeah, yeah. Let me tell you something. I tested one of those too, and he is a true OG for taking that thing as far apart as he did, because that is not, as you can see in the videos, he had to skip ahead quite a bit, or speed it up, because that's not easy to take apart.
No, some of the new amps are really tough. In fact, that Rockford T1000 X5 AD was the worst I've ever tried to take
Oh
apart. And
yeah.
they even sent me the breakaway to show me. Eric Russell from Rockford sent it to me to show me how to do it. You had to take a sticker off the bottom. You had to take screws the bottom. You had to take sticker off the top. I mean, it was just unbelievable how many things you had to do to get it out. But we do our best. It still works too after I took it apart and put it back together. So
Yeah. Yeah. I don't want to take those amps apart.
no, that sometimes
Yeah.
that's one of the hardest things to do for one of my videos is to get
Yeah.
into the thing. And here recently I've done it where I've tested SPL, which it's really for me it's not that good of a comparison because I don't hit 150s or anything like that anyway in that vehicle with that setup. So it's really just showing somebody mid 130s pretty much with almost every amp that I test. So you're only a few dB off or a few tenths of a dB off. So I didn't do it for the SCAR video. It just didn't make sense to use that test. And I didn't even test it with speakers, but I actually did listen to it with speakers with some bookshelf speakers and also some with a subwoofer for a while. But it was all copyrighted stuff. That's why I didn't share it with everybody. But I was pleasantly surprised. I mean, I was shocked honestly about the sound quality. I thought it sounded good.
From the Scar
Bass,
amp?
yeah,
Yeah, that's shocking.
bass head go boom, hitting us up.
Yeah.
Thank you,
The
sir. Greatly appreciate
$20
support.
holla.
Y'all hooking us up tonight for sure. We do greatly appreciate your support. And we don't Rob and I don't do this as a living. We do this as extra. We do this to kind of join the community together, try to get some history. And yeah, high five. He wants to do his
Yeah.
full build too. For
It'll take me like 3 years. I'm probably the slowest installer in history.
well, that's why I farmed out my hot rod to my buddy to do the rewiring and all the stuff that was done to it because I could do it, but it would just take me forever. And excuse me, I prefer to spend my time working on things where I can be beneficial to the community and show people things and do tests. And so anyway,
Do
that's
SPL tests and such.
yeah, those SPL tests that mean nothing to everybody, and those
Wow.
dynamic tests at half an ohm that mean nothing, but it's
They
still
like to see them.
fun.
Yeah, they want to see them.
They want to see them, and I want to do them. And I don't want to be. I mean, I used to work on motorcycles, and my brother and I used to buy. We buy cheap dirt bikes. We'd fix them up, we'd sell them, we make money, and buy a nicer one. Do the same thing, 3-wheelers, 4-wheelers, all that stuff. So I've worked on stuff kind of my whole life, but yeah, it's not really a passion that I have. So I prefer to spend my free time or whatever you want to call it, my hobby time doing stuff that I want to do. So that's what I do.
Yeah, that's the
But
way
to
to
each
do
his
it.
own, because some people prefer to do everything themselves. I have to do it all myself. Well, that's
Yeah.
good if you want to, if you can.
That hey, that's like you watch a dyno video and you're like, well, I like the way Big D does it. Yeah, me too. Like, you don't understand how much work he puts into those videos to do them like that. That's like, you ain't getting that from here, bro. We're just testing the weird stuff real fast. That's it.
All right. Well, we got to go through. Did you get down all the?
Dude, I didn't write one of them down.
Oh gosh,
I,
we got a
I totally
ton tonight.
forgot.
I mean, we tried to thank everybody as they dropped them, but the problem is here that our comments only go so far, so we can't go back through. But hopefully, we thanked everybody who sent those to us. We do appreciate your support, either through the sticker here on YouTube or through the super chat on YouTube, or however you guys are sending us those funds. We do greatly appreciate that. And I think yeah, we'll leave this for the comment section. So if you guys have any, you know, models that we didn't talk about or anything that's new that, hey, this is a showstopper, you guys need to check this out, make sure you comment either here on Facebook or on YouTube in the YouTube comments. Either way, let us know what you think is the best. And we'll maybe we'll be able to take a look at it, see what's going on.
Yeah.
Yeah. So I guess that's
Let's,
it.
let's, let's sign her out.
Those who are listening to us here on the podcast, on the audio version, make sure you check us out on youtube.com/12V Talk, or you can go to 12volttalk.com and it will forward you to the YouTube channel. So whichever way is easier for you, just make sure you click the subscribe there so you get notifications when we go live. Currently, we are doing every other Wednesday night. We usually go live somewhere between 8 and 8:30 Eastern, 7:30 Central time. You can check us out then. The shows usually last for about an hour, and we do try to break off some of the segments when we have people that we interview into shorter segments so they're more digestible, because we know not everybody has an hour to sit here and watch a bald dude and almost bald dude talk about car audio stuff. But we do appreciate you guys, and yeah, that's about all I have to say. Anything you need to say, Rob?
Catch y'all later.
All right. Until next time, we out of here.
Pew pew.
Amps and ramps.
Amps and ramps.
Oh, so I was scrolling through Facebook yesterday, and this dude, his name is so unique that I knew it was him. So 14 years ago, me and this guy, and he found how did he find me? It was through one of the forums. We were posting pictures, or I can't remember, stuff about old BMX stuff. And he got up with me, and I told him I knew how to do video editing, and I knew how to make DVDs and menus and all that stuff. So him and I started a project where we were converting old VHS stuff from freestyle, from GT, from all the BMX Plus stuff, the BMX Action, any of the shows that people had recorded on the VHS or 8mm. We took on a project where we were taking tapes and stuff from people, and we were converting them to digital, converting them to DVD, and I was building menus and all this stuff 14 years ago. So I unfortunately had a couple of life-changing events during that time. I had a daughter, and then my mom passed away not too long after that. So I kind of dropped out, but he kept working on this stuff. And he said he got up to the point where he had 50. He was doing packs of 50 DVDs of all these things that we had done, plus some other ones that he'd gotten after I worked on it. So anyway, I saw his name post on Facebook, and I was like, dude, is this you? I hadn't talked to you in like 14 years. How's it going? And so we finally got back up and started chatting with him, and it was just cool. Anyway, that's my amps and ramps, because it's neat, sometime to follow back up with people you haven't talked to in a while, and people that you have similar likes and stuff too. So it was neat. It's neat to follow up with him. And
Yeah. So what happened? Did he finish it out? Did he get the website up, or is it on
he
the
said that he's
website,
still
or?
got them all on DVD, and he said that he's uploading them slowly but surely to his YouTube channel.
Oh yeah.
Yep. So I have to see if his YouTube channel is his name or not. But his last name is Slavik, Slavik. Let me see if his YouTube is that. I think it might just be his name, because I don't know if he has anything fancy. But there's several people that are uploading them right now anyway. Like there's stunt biker and old school BMX TV. There's several people that are already putting stuff up there. SLAV. Okay. Yeah, I'll have to find out what his channel is because I don't see it here.
Nope, never run the Macintosh head unit. I'm sure you did have to hold your pinky up when you turned the volume down. I downloaded the app though. Have you guys checked out the Macintosh app or app?
Uh-uh.
When you're playing music, it has the voltmeters. That would be the best use of the iPad in the dash. Get the Macintosh amp or app and just have it do the voltmeters as you're playing your music.
Yeah, yeah, that is the truth. Yeah, I can't find it. Anyway, it was interesting. So he's got all that stuff. I was like, dude, I said I needed a set of those DVDs. He's like, do you realize it was 50? I'm like, 50?
Jeez.
Jesus.
What all DVDs was it?
Ah,
Just
I
like
don't know how many of them he got were like people just recording shows
yeah,
because I know that we had probably 6 or 7 different videos of shows that my dad had recorded because he got a camcorder in 83 or 84. It was pretty early. It was like right when they first started selling the ones that went onto your shoulder. And he had it earlier. I remember he said it was like $1,300 way back then. And not many people had them back then. But he's like me. He would save up if he wanted something. And it's like he knew that it was going to be valuable one day to be able to record family gatherings and Christmases. And then, of course, when
yeah.
we started riding bikes, we got all that stuff. And then every time we went to a show, we used it. But I'm not sure how many that this guy had. I know the ones that I worked on, there was like the BMX Plus stuff, the BMX Action, the GT World Tour, GTV, the King of the Skate Park stuff from the 80s. I mean, it was some really neat stuff. The only thing is, I know some of them, the quality from the tape when we got them was not that great. So when you
Yeah.
convert it to digital, there were some that had a lot of artifacts in them. So I always kind of hoped that we could go back and get better versions of what we had. Cause now, with the capturing capability you have now versus 14 years ago, you have much more quality that you can do now, even with the pretty much a low end source of a VHS tape.
Where's all them old karate competition VHS tapes? That's what I want to see.
Yeah, well, that guy Todd, I can't remember his last name, but he used to post a bunch of those. He went to a lot of shows, but I think a lot of his videos got flagged because they had the copyright music playing, and he just walk around and show the trunks and show the cars, and I think most of his videos got pulled off, and that's a bummer because that stuff
Yeah,
like that should
that's
be
tough.
allowed, man. That's crazy.
Yep, that's the way it goes, I guess.
But yeah, I mean, we probably should do the same thing for car audio stuff now. We probably should, ask people because here's the thing: everybody has to remember. The VHS tapes have a shelf life. I mean, they have a time frame where they're degrading over time, and the longer you let them sit without creating converting them to digital, the worse the quality is getting. So, and then on top of that, nowadays most people probably don't keep their VHS tapes in climate controlled environments. And if you put it in an environment where it gets hot and cold and humidity is high and low and all that, then your tape's definitely not going to last, and it may already be gone
Yeah.
if you've done that. So something to think about. And I've done some for people. Like I know that Mike Green sent me the Clarion auto PC tape, and he said all I want is a digital version in return. So I created a digital version for him, and I sent it to him, and then I also uploaded it to the Old School Stereo YouTube channel. So I figured that's a very rare one that anybody wants to see, but it's the whole training of how to use the auto PC, and it's on YouTube now. So maybe it's
Yeah.
useful for somebody.
I watched that. That was like the most boring.
It was, dude. I'm like, whenever I can't sleep at night, I'm gonna turn this on because it
Yeah.
was boring. You know,
Oh,
oh, you click
I seen you
here.
uploaded it, and I was so pumped. I was like, dude, I'm gonna watch this whole thing. It's like 30 something minutes. And I got in, and it's like, I don't want to watch
Well,
this.
I was recording it and I was the same way. I'm
Yeah.
like, can I, how long do I go away before I have to come back and see when this thing needs to stop?
Yeah.
Because, yeah, it's very boring. But it's one of those things, one of the other things I love to see is some of the Rockford training, like the
Oh, the
RTTI
RTTI,
stuff.
yeah.
And I mean, a lot of that. So you guys out there, start digging through your cabinets. And if you have some of these old trainings, I know I've got some of the name, was it NAME? Um, Stuff that kind of like what Mark at Cardio Fabrication does. They show you how to do fiberglassing and how to do wiring and security systems and all that. But there's so much better information now just on YouTube
Yeah.
than
I
that
used to have
stuff.
some of the Fishman tapes.
Did you?
Yeah, but I don't know. I don't know where they went.
Yeah, but I mean, I'm sure that the community here either has it or knows people who have the stuff. People like Gary Biggs, that have storage units upon storage units of antique car audio stuff. I'm sure he's got all kind of
Yeah.
material and tapes and who
Yeah.
knows,
I'm
probably
the
reel to
worst kind of
reels.
person for stuff like that. I don't know what clicked in me, but I don't like having things around. I I just don't want like my whole space filled up with things. But it's only been, I guess, 6, 7, 8 years ago or something like that when it really started to hit me where I was like, yeah, I don't want a bunch of stuff.
Well, that's good. I mean, even with this though, just converting them to digital, you
Yeah,
wouldn't have to
that's too
have
bad.
like all the tapes and everything. It's just
Yeah,
getting it to a format where it can survive, and that's kind of the thing that I'm interested in. But I digitally hoard stuff too, so that's a problem. But I just think it
yeah.
would be neat to get it up, especially the things
Oh yeah,
that we could put on YouTube that would kind of be there for everybody to see.
yeah.
And I don't know if the Rockford stuff, if they may not allow it.
Maybe not.
Um,
Well, see, there's a good thing people like you are willing to store all this stuff and have it around. There's a lot of people have big collections of things
yep.
that they store, and that's awesome. I do make an exemption for magazines.
Yeah.
Now, I'm not big D level magazine collector, but I got some magazines.
Yeah. Rob is, have you, no, you haven't seen the library yet. You'll
No,
see it
not
this
yet.
year.
I've only seen it in pictures.
You saw a portion of it, but it's pretty impressive to
Yeah,
be a library of car audio stuff. And I don't have, there's still some things I'm missing, but I've got quite a bit. But again, it's in hopes that I can digitize all that stuff someday.
yeah.
And I found sources that'll do the magazines, but you have to send the magazine to them. They cut the binding, they feed it through the machine, and then they shred because you're pretty much getting a digital copy in replacement of the one you send them. So, and it's about 10 cents a page. So these directories that are like 300 pages is $30. But
Yeah,
then it's kind of like, well, but then you got it digital, and then it's searchable
yeah.
too because it scans it as a readable text readable
That's
PDF.
the only way it'd be worth it if it's searchable. If it's not
Yep.
searchable, like nah, man, I don't want to ruin the book for that.
Right. Yeah. So that's definitely a thing that I would love to get the community together too on that, because I know not everybody has the magazines, but I've spent a lot trying to put together this you know library of stuff, and I don't want to take all the things that I have to have them scanned and then
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I dedicate and devote a lot of stuff to the community, but I cannot do all that myself. I'd have to have some help, and I'm sure there's people out there that'd be willing to give up some stuff to have them scanned in for the betterment of the community.
yeah. Cool, man. You there? Do we freeze?
No, I'm here. I
No.
froze. I was just reading Need All the Buyer's Guide
Yeah.
Digitized, and that actually we had a guy that joined Patreon gosh, it's been probably 6 months ago, but he was willing to do it. He had the machinery to be able to do the scans, and he said send me 20 or 30 of them, and I'll do them for you at no cost. And I was going to do a trial and send him a couple of them and see, but he said he could do the PDF with the text searchable and all that.
Yeah.
And I hadn't got him anything yet, and we'll have to follow back up with him and see if that's available, because I'll definitely get him some. But I agree, the directories, what will be really, really cool, and Rob and I have talked about this before, but being able to combine all the different years of the directories and make a massive directory. Now, I know that, if I still got it down here by me, yeah. So I know that this is a kind of a version of that. So this is the Orion Blue Book, and this thing's actually pretty thick. This one is over 700, almost 800 pages, 768 pages. But the problem with this is it's got a lot of wrong information in it. And what I don't understand is they had all those years to get this stuff right, and I found a whole lot of mistakes with it. But even the Car Audio and Electronics and the Car Stereo Reviews have mistakes in them as well.
Yeah.
But I don't know. It would be cool to be able to have all that stuff. I always thought about, they must have had databases even back then, probably Lotus 123 or something, that they used to put together all those spreadsheets to be able to put those in the magazine. It would be like, man, if we could have got all those spreadsheets for all those years, that would be sweet.
I mean, it'd be cool if you could make it like a digital magazine like they're doing now versus just PDF. I mean, PDF's cool too, but I don't know. There's something about turning pages, and I mean, it's cool to have the information, but then just kind of ends up being like, the internet. It's just part of the internet.
Well, I mean, it could be feasible to get all the information and then do print versions. I mean, they would be expensive.
Yeah.
But
and they would probably like, hey, cease and desist.
For what?
For reprinting their
No. Not reprinting their stuff. I'm just saying get all the data from, maybe have one of just amps from 1970 up to 2010 or whatever the year would be. And that's all it would be. It would just be amps. And then have another one with head units and have another one with...
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it would be a lot of work. But some of you fools ain't got nothing to do. Y'all are bored. Get to work.
That one.
Start getting the data.
That's the
Create
one.
The spreadsheets.
I'd be happy to just have on the internet. But like the articles and stuff and the pictures and yeah.
Yeah, well, I think after the last little history book that I did with some of the amps, I had people saying, oh, it would be cool for you to give amp dyno results from all these amps and your... I'm like, wow, that would be cool, but you know how long that's going to take?
Yeah.
But since we did the book like 6 or 7 years ago, I don't even know how long ago it's been that I made that book. But I do have a lot of data now that I could add back, and I got a lot more pictures I could add too.
Yeah.
So if you guys want a coffee table amplifier, car audio amplifier book, then let me know, because if there's
you're
enough,
like the Kramer of car audio.
if there's enough demand, I will do a second run. I will do a V2.
You just need to do it all pre-order, and then once the pre-orders fill up, then you do it.
There you go. See what the demand is.
I don't know how I didn't get one of those. I
don't know how you didn't either, because I don't think I've literally got one left for me, and I think that's it. I don't think I have any more.
I was asleep at the wheel. I don't know what happened.
I don't either. What happened with you? Those things weren't cheap though. I mean, I was selling them for $30 or $35, but they cost me like 20 or 25. So by the time I did the shipping from them to me, and then I didn't make nothing. It was just like it was just passing on the goodness. Yeah. But
I got one of these though.
Yes, sir. And is yours dirty as mine? The thing is filthy.
Hey, you know what? It just makes me love it more.
Yeah, I got one at work, and nobody even knows what it is. But yeah,
Yeah.
mine is so dirty. But yeah,
Oh man.
yeah, we'll follow back up on the book thing. Maybe we'll do a reading session one night. We don't have nothing to do on 12 volt talk, and I'll show you guys what was in the V1. Mainly, it just showed a lot of the old Rockford amps and some Orion amps, and I don't know, it might have had the Soundstream MC500 and some other stuff, but it was mainly
Yeah.
designed to be like a coffee table book that you just put on your coffee table if you're an amplifier nerd, and you flip
Or
through it.
toilet book.
Yeah,
You know, we got phones now, but
yeah,
it's gonna be cool.
yeah, it was fun. It was back when we did the calendars also,
Yeah.
but all that stuff's a lot of work. So cool. We've gone on and on and on and on, and it's yeah, almost 10 o'clock here on the East Coast. Think we
Yeah.
done. You
Yeah, I'm
done?
done. I'm sleepy.
All right. Well, we will catch you folks up or catch up with you folks in a couple weeks. Thank you as always for checking us out and hanging
I
on for
found
the
out why RVH won't argue with us.
amps and ramps section. Hey, now you see how I feel with YouTube comments, Robert. Because sometimes it's just like,
Uh,
yeah. All right, y'all have a good one. We
all right,
shall check you next time. Peace out.
catch you later.